So, upon entering journal entry transaction, we should be reminded of the following. So first, it is important to use correct and specific account titles in journalizing. The main criterion is that each title must appropriately describe the content of the account. So, for you to be able to track the progress of the business and for you to be able to give the correct and proper information to those interested users of accounting information, then you should use the proper and correct account title. So, there are some practitioner or CPA that uses description or particulars instead of the word account title. So, if you see descriptions or particulars instead of account titles and explanation, it is actually the same thing. So, next, that for every journal entry, the total debit and credit should always be equal. If it's not equal, then the entry is considered erroneous, or there is an error upon the journalizing process. And once you have make a total of the transactions, we always use the double rule where at the bottom of the total for the both debit and credit, we put 2 lines and a peso sign wherein it indicates that the total for debit and credit. Last reminder that we have is that the previous entry that you see for the previous example is what we call the simple entry, because there are some entries that involve only 2 accounts, 1 debit and 1 credit, while there are transactions that requires more than 2 accounts in journalizing, because we can have multiple transactions on the same date on the same company. So these entries are what we call compound entry. So these are the transactions in above example in the journals wherein you use multiple debits and multiple credit accounts. So the compound entry. For an example, let's have on September 7, 2015, Mr. Babay purchased a motorcycle costing 80,000 pesos and pays 30,000 cash and agrees to pay the remaining 50,000 on account, or it will be settled on the later date. So this is an example of compound entry because we have the asset motorcycle. So we have cash, motorcycle in debit transaction, $80,000, and then for the credit transaction we have cash, and at the bottom of it we also have accounts payable. So as you can see, the only difference between a compound and a simple entry is that multiple debit accounts and multiple credit accounts exist. So as I have mentioned earlier, so there are transactions like this one wherein they exist in multiple transactions a day. So to stop the congestion of the entries, we uses the special journals. So because there are some businesses that encounter similar and recurring transaction which may create the congestions of this transaction. So just take a look at the example about the sales. So if you are a sari-sari store owner, then would you be recording the sales in your general journal? So if you would like to use your general journal for your sales, then you could see that the transaction of sales would end up repeatedly. So to avoid this type of transactions appearing in general journal, we use the special journals, namely the cash receipt journal, where it is used to record all cash that has been received, the cash disbursement journal, or it is used to record all transactions involving cash payments, the sales journal, or the sales on account journal, where it is used to record all the sales on credit, or the sales transactions on cash. We also have the purchase journal or purchase on account journal to record all the purchases of inventory in cash or in credit. So an example of cash receipt journal is this one, wherein you have the date, the description in particular. So again, for the description, we will be using an account that best describes the transaction. So it should be a receipt or a collection of cash. And then we have the reference number, we have the debit, the cash, credit to sales, credit to accounts receivable, or credit to owner's equity. So these are the three possible credits that you could have. So we also have the cash disbursement journal. So the opposite of the cash receipt journal, wherein it is used for all the cash payments. So you can see we have the date, the description in particular, the reference, the check or the voucher number, that which is credited to cash because it is cash disbursement, debit to either accounts payable, salaries, supplies, or credited to owner's equity also. So we also have the sales journal or sales on account journal for the sales that for the sale of the business within the day. So we have here the date, the description of the customer or the customer's name, the reference number, the charge invoice or sale invoice number, if debit, if it is an accounts receivable, and credit if it is sales. We also have purchase journal, or the purchase on account journal, that is used to record the recurring transaction of purchases on account, wherein we have the date, the description or the supplier's name, the reference number, the charge invoice or sales invoice number from the supplier, with a debit to purchases and credit to accounts payable. So I have here, we call the first activity. So it is just a practice for you to try the transactions like on the general journal, but would not be recorded, but will be discussed on the MS Teams meeting. So if you don't have the copy, then or you did not try to answer this one, and then it would be a problem, or you could have a hard time learning this one. So it is very important for you to practice this journalizing transaction. Okay? Because on the following weeks, discussion will be focusing more on journalizing process, because at the end of this semester, we should be able to have the unadjusted trial balance. We also have adjusting entries, adjusted trial balance, the income statement, the closing entries, and the post-closing trial balance, which will be tackled upon this following days. So, if you do not try to practice and if you do not understand this topic, then it will be hard for you to attend grade 12, accounting 2, and then other subjects as well. Okay? So, ayan, we have, as you can see, we have a lot of topics left, but this video will be ended here. So, each slide will be posted for 5 seconds, so you have to post it so you can check. So that's all for today's video.